Mitch Daniels, on the other hand, has not jumped into the race, and he is essentially counting on his behavior as a sitting Indiana governor to be the thing that will springboard his potential campaign. Even though the Beltway media says social issues are dead and all anybody cares about in Republican politics right now is the economy, fiscal issues, it tells you everything you need to know about how wrong that common wisdom is when you think about what's going on for Mitch Daniels right now. It is no liability for Mitch Daniels that he was George W. Bush's budget director. He was George W. Bush's budget director. What happened to the deficit under George W. Bush? Yeah. What happened to jobs under George W. Bush? Yeah. What happened to the economy overall under George W. Bush? Mitch Daniels was George W. Bush's budget director. Not a problem, apparently, with Republican primary voters, no matter how much the Beltway crows about how all they care about is the economy. What is an actual liability for Mitch Daniels in campaigning for the Republican nomination for president is an interview that he gave to the Weekly Standard last year, in which he said that Republicans are going to have to declare a truce on social issues, to not campaign on social conservative matters, at least for now, because there are more important things for the country to work on. That really is a problem for him in terms of campaigning for the still abortion-obsessed and homosexuality-obsessed Republican activists of this year and next year. And so as the governor of Indiana, Mitch Daniels is trying to rectify the political problem that he's got. He is trying to reestablish his social conservative bona fides by doing something that, when you look at the rest of the country, is pretty radical. For all of the demagoguing and talking smack about Planned Parenthood and abortion rights happening on the political right this year, Mitch Daniels actually did something that no other state has done and that the federal government has not done. He blocked essentially all public funding, even federal funding, from going to any of the 28 health centers in his state that are run by Planned Parenthood. This is not blocking taxpayer funding for abortion. They already don't get taxpayer funding for abortion. What he's done is made it so that nobody in his state who is on Medicaid can go to Planned Parenthood for anything. You know what? I know this is a little bit weird. I can tell this is not working. Like, I hear myself saying this stuff about Mitch Daniels, and it sounds like all of the other reporting on this decision by Mitch Daniels that hasn't been noticed at all, that hasn't had any political impact, that never gets talked about in the Beltway or by anybody debating presidential politics. The words I am saying are correct. They are true. I am accurately describing this radical thing that he has done, but I can tell it's not resonating. It's not sinking in. Can we do the Plan B thing that we talked about? Do we have the new backdrop? Can we have the props? All right. Do we have the props? All right. Thanks, guys. All right. This is desperate times, desperate measures. This is awesome. But wait. Okay. Thank you, guys. That's very nice. Can I? Okay. We call this the man cave set. Ladies, you can take a powder. I just need to talk. To all the men folk who are watching right now. Just me and the guys. I'm apparently allowed to open a beer, they told me. All right, here's the deal. Ready? Man cave moment. Here's the deal. Every 3,000 miles. That's a familiar concept, right? I don't want to talk about synthetic oil. Let's forget the whole synthetic oil and that whole complicated thing. Every 3,000 miles. You know what I'm talking about, right? Every 3,000 miles. Oil change. Every 6,000 miles, rotate your tires. At a certain number of miles, you check the brakes, you check the differential, maybe the spark plugs, you can check at home depending on your skill level. But when it comes to like getting an alignment, rebalancing your wheels and all that stuff, basically speaking, you take it in. Not because there's anything wrong with your vehicle, fellas. It's just preventive maintenance. So, preventive maintenance, right? Preventive maintenance. Planned Parenthood. Oil change, breast exam, rotate your tires. Can I say pap smears on TV at the same time that I just opened a Budweiser? Fellas, just like your car needs a little bit of preventive maintenance from time to time, so do the ladies in your life. Is this making it sink in at all? Is this helping with the politics here? The ladies in your life, just like all of the automobiles in your life, they have sort of a 3,000-mile thing. Every 3,000 miles. It's not like anything's wrong. Certainly if something's wrong, you got to go get things taken care of. But even if nothing's wrong, even if everything's going fine, you got to have your 3,000-mile checkup, and you got to do it every 3,000 miles. So now imagine that Governor Mitch Daniels of Indiana is the fleet manager of, say, 9,000 cars in the state of Indiana. And he's just decided that those cars, no more oil changes, no more checking the spark plugs, no more tire rotations, no more preventive maintenance. There are more than 9,000 people in Indiana whose health insurance is Medicaid and who get their preventive care, who get their 3,000-mile checkups at Planned Parenthood. But because Mitch Daniels can mess with that as a governor, and because he wants social conservatives to like him for president, those 9,000 Indiana patients have just been cut off from their preventive care. Breast exams, STD screenings, pap smears, birth control, all of it. This is not about abortion. There's not any public funding for abortion. It's not about cutting off abortion services in Indiana. This is about cutting off the proverbial oil changes, preventive care. If you want to be irresponsible with your vehicle, if you want to be penny wise and pound foolish, you stop going to Jiffy Lube, stop doing any preventive maintenance on your car. When your car inevitably breaks down, you will know why it happened. But in this ridiculously overstretched, totally Neanderthal sexist metaphor, Mitch Daniels is the guy who is responsible for thousands of cars. He is responsible for setting the policy by which these cars are maintained. And his big idea is, the idea on which he wants to run for president is no oil changes, no rotating the tires, maintenance, schmaintenance. All right, we now have to lose the man cave. I can't believe we did this. All right. In Republican politics, essentially, thank you. Newt Gingrich wants to be seen as the policy guy, right? That's not really working. Mitch Daniels wants to be thought of as the serious, responsible policy guy, too. He wants to be thought of as the guy who's pioneered responsible, serious, conservative policies in the states, and it's all common sense stuff. The Beltway press and the conservative commentators, they see Mitch Daniels as the Republican Party's best hope. If so, the Republican Party's best hope is the don't catch your cancer early governor. And he is spending money to do it. This Planned Parenthood ban in Indiana is expected to cost the state millions of dollars per year. So don't catch your cancer early and pay more for the privilege. I am pretty sure that this whole car man cave metaphor thing is not going to help people understand Mitch Daniels better, but I cannot say I didn't try my damnedest. Joining us now is Melissa Harris Perry, a professor of politics and African American studies at Princeton University and an MSNBC contributor. Melissa, I'm very sorry.
Well, no, the only problem, Rachel, is that your football there should be shaped like a pink fuzzy uterus.
Oh, God.
Because the thing that they're using as the political football here is, in fact, is it uteruses or uteri? That's what's really being used as a football here.
So that whole part where I said I'm just talking to the guys and the ladies can leave the room, now we just sent all the guys out of the room, so it's just you and me? So we can now talk about anything and we'll never be quoted.
Yeah, look, interestingly enough, talking about our uterus or talking about our cervix is, in fact, a more challenging public conversation than, for example, talking about our breasts. I mean, I just want to point out that there was a point in which, what you just talked about, the idea of breast self-exams would have been seen as almost pornographic in the public realm. But women's lives were at stake, and so activists who are Democrats and Republicans, right, wealthy and poor, women got together on breast cancer questions in a way that's made, breast cancer and the discussion of breast health so common, that in the month of October, everything is pink. Even the NFL are wearing pink bands in October because we got serious about thinking about women's health. Now I think we just got to go a little farther south on this question. It's not just our breasts that matter. It's, in fact, all of our reproductive organs.
And it's the whole idea of preventive health, generally speaking, but it's specifically not targeting preventive health care for anybody other than women. It is Planned Parenthood clinics specifically that are being singled out here. They're not going after prostate exams, for example, for men. They're not going after other kinds of, asthma screening for kids and stuff. They're specifically targeting preventive health care for women. And do you feel like that is driving the broader appeal of this as a socially conservative political issue?
Absolutely. I mean, in fact, I doubt that this governor, given what we know about his sort of fiscal hawkishness and his general, we should call a truce on these sorts of social issues, this isn't because he has some moral anxiety about women having pap smears. This is a way of signaling, I am not on the side of poor women, of women in general, of women of color, or particularly of women who might be using their reproductive organs, I don't know, for things like sex.